Welcome everyone to the 17-day sustainability panel discussion by Ideagen. I'm Peggy Pelonis, president of ACS Athens and chair of Ideagen Athens. It's really great to join you as we convene with leaders from across the world to raise awareness about the world's most vexing issues and share the stories of those whose mission is to accelerate the goals towards a sustainable world. And I always like to ask this question: do you ever wonder what the world would be like without people such as those on our panel today who work tirelessly to make sure that life and living on the planet improves daily and work towards changing the status quo? Well, indeed, the Hellenic Basketball Federation is in for some major changes and challenges to the status quo. Firstly, a new board of directors is in place, promising change and improvement in the world of basketball for both men and women athletes in Greece. Vangelis Liolios is the newly elected president of the Greek Basketball Federation, and with him, an outstanding team of professionals. What is most interesting, however, is that the newly elected board of directors has a woman elected for the first time in Hellenic history. We have with us today three of the newly elected board of directors. Giannis Iliopoulos, vice president of the Federation. Giannis is an engineer who has participated in the development of some of the largest private real estate projects, as well as urban planning projects in Greece. Giannis has been involved in sports academies and basketball academies in his community for many years and enjoys introducing young people to the magic of amateur sport. Welcome, Yanni. Annie Konstantinidis, former professional Hellenic basketball star. In fact, she's often called the female Gallis after a very tall and talented basketball star of the 80s. She's been involved in sport as far back as she can remember, including being a venue manager for softball in the 2004 Olympic Games. Currently director of athletics and other programs at the American Community School of Athens, Annie has dedicated her life to helping young people integrate sports in their lives while receiving an education. She's now the first woman to be elected on the board of directors of the Hellenic Basketball Federation. Hello, Annie. And Konstantinos Assimakopoulos is a strategic communication and PR consultant, and he's actively engaged in the overall communication strategy and consulting of major national and international organizations, including governmental institutions and private businesses. He's a member of the Hellenic Basketball Board of Directors, responsible for the organization's PR strategy, and representative in the Hellenic Basketball Clubs Association. Welcome, Konstantina. I want to start this panel discussion with Yanni. So, Yanni, I'm going to ask you this question. What role do you think education plays in the development and the success of an athlete today? And to what degree is education important?
Okay, first of all, thank you for this excellent opportunity. I believe even during this pandemic and this crisis, it is very important that we are able to communicate and discuss issues that are more or less global. Regarding the critical role of the education, first, we must remember that there is no such thing as an athlete prior to him being a student. Everyone has started in a school. Everyone has started learning from the age of 4, 5 years old, and eventually they develop their skills, they develop their knowledge, they develop their communication and a broad aspect of their character. And at a certain point, they are able to make this transition, make this, let's say, leap from being just a student to a student athlete. And some of them, they are even able to make a further leap to being a full-time athlete. So education is very critical because for the biggest part of their, 12 years, even more, of their lives, of their early lives, education presents everyone at this age with an opportunity to become aware with its own skills, its own characteristics. The education gives also an alternative of self-fulfillment and completeness aside from sports. And this is very important because kids and then children and then youth, they must learn to balance between their capabilities and their abilities. And I believe that, again, what this, again, pandemic has shown us is that if you're able to balance, even in these difficult times, between these two major aspects of a young man's or a young woman's life, you are able to, feel very complete as a person, and you are able to even try to, maximize your goals and achieve them by being focused and by being, you doing all the work ethic and all the preparation that is required in education and sports.
And what you're saying, Yanni, is that those two are interrelated. So through sports, you learn discipline, you learn focus, you learn all of these important skills, but then these come in handy in education as well. So the two go hand in hand together. Very important message. Thank you for that, Yanni. I'm just going to go over to Annie Constantinides. I've known Annie for a long time, and I know that you dedicated your life to combining athletics with education, Annie. How does it feel to be, on the board of directors? What does it mean for basketball in Greece to have the first female board of directors members? And do you believe that there will ever come a time when someone refers to a male athlete as the male Annie Constantinides?
Oh, interesting question. First of all, again, thank you for inviting me on this panel. A couple of weeks ago, we had the elections, and yes, it was, I would say, an interesting and very important moment, I would say, because it so happens that I was elected as the first female board of directors member. And over the last, I would say, at least 30 years, there was the board of directors consisted of a number of individuals, all males. So yes, this is in a way breaking the barrier. I believe it's important. First of all, I'm honored to be in this position, but it's also a message from our president and the entire board that about empowering women, and that capable and able women should be included in all forms of leadership. So I think this is a message that goes out to our community, basketball community, to our country, that and especially in the world of sports, that women can lead, women have the ability, the desire, and I would say the passion at the same time, to become role models, not only on the court or on the field, or in our case on the basketball court, but also to be in a position where strategy implementation, strategy creation can be done in order to help the young athletes, and in this case young girls, to be involved with the sport of basketball and to be initiated in this great sport. Now, in terms of your second question, whether a male would be somebody referred to as a female character, I think, to be quite honest with you, I think our entire society is our brain is trained in a way that people refer to the males first. So if I'm optimistic, if what you suggested or what you asked will soon be, I don't think so. At this point, however, I think there are other points and other aspects of a mindset that we need to recreate, or actually completely change somebody's mindset.
And in this particular case, with you at the helm, both as director of athletics at ACS Athens, but also, continuing to do work in the athletic world and in education, what an incredible role model for young girls and empowering young girls. One question I want to, just an offshoot of that, is there a difference for you? I know you've coached basketball over the years. Is there a difference when you coach or rather, is there a different mindset when you coach males than when you coach females?
I've coached both, at school. I've coached from, the younger age, the JV boys, varsity girls, varsity boys. This is a discussion item for many, including sports psychologists. Some people say that, on the court, the game is the same, but to be quite honest with you, I do feel in terms of the idiosyncrasy of the females and the males, there is a difference. And as I said, this could be a topic of discussion that could take hours. My own personal opinion is that yes, there is a difference, in terms of the psychological perspective, and that I think also is something that needs to be. We need to inform and to educate people, coaches, as well as to what this entails.
And I'm going to get right back to Yanni as we're talking about mindsets, Yanni. And so I know that, being in the K-12 environment and educating young people who are prepared to go off to higher education later, and then the real, what we call the real world. But what kind of mindsets and talents and skills do young people today need to possess in order to compete professionally in the world of basketball and to succeed?
There are quite a few, at least if we're discussing about an elite level or a very top level. However, if I must, let's say, focus on 3 or 4 of them, I believe it starts with self-discipline. It is very important. If you have actually 2 schedules, the academic schedule and the sports schedule, you must be very well disciplined in order to arrange and accommodate for everything. You must be ready to sacrifice some of the fun stuff that are appropriate for one's age. You must find motivation either through the game itself, because the game is also an object, let's say, of love for every athlete, or apart from the game, from the people that you entrust and they trust you with coaching you. It is very important also to have this humility. Everyone wants to be better. Everyone wants to be the best. And everyone, especially sometimes in the NBA and the NBA drafts, say that they're going to be the greatest ever. You have to stay humble. If something, again, I believe this pandemic has taught us that we control as many things as real life allows. So being humble, working continuously, being focused, I believe are some of the qualities that are, required to reach this high level about a game that everyone is passionate about.
That message of humility is so important, and it's not always easy for young people to think in that direction. When you're young, you think you're invincible in many ways, and so humility, though, is what potentially will get you to where you want to get, I think. So thank you, Yanni, for that. I'm going to go over to Konstantino. Konstantino, I think this question is inevitable. We're in Greece. I think it's an inevitable question. Most of us know the story of Giannis Antetokounmpo, who became a star athlete under challenging circumstances and in a foreign land. So has the Federation thought of how more young people such as Giannis could have equal access to the dream?
Hello. First of all, I have to say that I'm honored to be with you today. First of all, I think that there's nothing more rewarding than achieving your goals through difficult circumstances and setting new records, looking back to the hard work you have done. And this is what Giannis has done. First of all, we have to take the steps in order to bring back youngsters in the sport. Because nowadays, through the pandemic and some other reasons, our beloved sport has been a little bit out of the minds of the youngsters. So nowadays, with the new Basketball Federation, the new administration, we have the chance to make a solid step towards a goal to bring back children to the sport. The combination of plan, its execution, and the inner belief that we have are perhaps the spark of making our dream to come alive. But in order the dream to become reality, we have to give the tools to the local clubs, the basketball clubs, um, to the children, to all who are in the basketball community, to help those children and become part of the sport. Because it's easy for a sportsman to chase his dream, but it's very difficult to bring him in the sport. So two steps are there that we have to do before setting goals for more at the combos. The first one is to settle again the sport, to rebrand the basketball and bring society within the family of basketball. The second step is to give those youngsters the motivation of playing basketball, chasing their dreams, not only within the courts, but also in their lives. Because Giannis had to overcome a lot of difficulties to become, first of all, a sportsman and then a star. So the strategy that we are currently creating in the federation, our true passion for the sport, and the inner belief that we have that we can succeed are our, let's say, our first tools to bring again the youngsters in the sport. After we have succeeded to bring them back, we can discuss again of how we can make them chase their dreams. But sum up, I can say that we are very keen on working on this plan of bringing back the children to the sport, of creating opportunities, equal access to the sport. And basketball is a sport that promotes teamwork. And there are more than a professional career that children can chase in the sport. So we have a plan, we are going to execute it, and we are very keen on creating the opportunities. After those steps are done, we can discuss again about creating talents and stars. We have to run a very hard, let's say, path, but we are very passionate about basketball. And I believe that we will create the tools, we will create the pathways in order children like Giannis find their way, create, work hard, and finally become stars. But I have to say that what Jan said is that all the children out there and the stakeholders of basketball have to be humble, because we have to work together, united, to the final goal, which is bring children within the sport again.
Konstantine, you know that message that you just gave about engaging young people in sports. I think that's so important because it also contributes to well-being, and it contributes to coping with a lot of the changes and the anxieties that nowadays the world kind of throws in our direction. And so in reality, it also contributes to young people's satisfaction and happiness. So it's a way of life more than chasing a dream of being significant through sport. So thank you for that. But speaking of that, since you mentioned that, you have a vision. You all have a vision, and I'm going to start with Yanni, but I'll open up this question to everyone. You have a vision, and you're coming in. Obviously, you're challenging the status quo. You're here to bring change. So generally, what is your vision in relation to basketball in Greece? What do you bring to Greek basketball?
I I believe, again, what unites us all in this panel and also with all the other people that we have been part of this great initiative of Vangelis Iliopoulos, it's called Pass the Ball, the name of the initiative, is that we truly believe, and this is our vision and this is my vision, that we can promote basketball to be inspiring and accessible to everyone here in Greece again, from the young children, from the young girls, that they will look up to Annie or to other great Greek athletes that have played the game, and they hope to do, achieve their careers. Till some people, there are grown-ups that stay in the game. They love the game. They stay in the game. So inspiring everyone to be part of this game and being the game accessible to everyone. I believe this is a very, very definitive, at least for us, target. And it is feasible because when you have been part of the game from various aspects, when you know the limitations and the challenges that you face in the certain society, as well as the opportunities, of course, I believe that Vangelis Iliopoulos and everyone involved will have a very clear plan, as Kostas said, with our feet on the ground to, propel this game sky high.
So the overall message is engaging people at young ages and finding ways for them to love the sport. Does somebody want to add to that vision? Anything else? Annie or Konstantinos?
I would just continue by saying that obviously we want to inspire, everybody from the younger ages to the older ones as well. But as I've been charged along with other members of the board to lead on the women's side, we have seen lately that every year less and less girls are getting involved with basketball, and we want to change that. And we have a plan to continue promoting, to actually empower girls to try it, first of all, those that have never played the game, but also to get involved, and then from there to increase the numbers, because automatically that will mean that we're going to have people or girls or young women involved in other aspects of sports. Not everybody's going to be involved in playing the game or for many years, but they may be involved, may be interested in coaching, or they may be interested in other parallel career path related to girls and women's basketball. So that's another side product or side goal or side effect that we want to create through this momentum of getting more girls, more females involved.
And Annie, as a person who has been involved in education along the way, as you have been in sports, let me then ask you, what are the individual traits that someone needs to possess in order to participate in a team sport such as basketball?
I would say, other than the physical skills, which those can be developed along, across time. Obviously, you need to have some basic physical skills. I would say to play the game of basketball effectively and at a good level. Perception. Somebody must have a good sense of perception to be able to analyze any given situation on the court. Quick thinking and quick reaction is essential because the sport of basketball has become so quick now that within a split second you have to make a decision on the court. A good sense of analysis, because obviously every time you play, you have a different setup that you have to face from the opposing team. So I would say, in summary, good perception, good judgment, quick thinking, as I said, and quick reaction time. I also believe, I believe Giannis said that, Self-discipline is very important. Focus, be able to focus is also very important. And these are things that actually, even in our daily lives, become very important, in our day-to-day life. So through basketball and the team sport and the team sport and the team elements, one gains so much that helps a person, live their life in other parts of their day.
I was just going to say exactly that these sound like they're life skills that could come in handy anywhere for anyone. We're going to resume this conversation in English in a little bit, but let's just go over to speak Greek a little bit, and I'm going to start with Konstantino. Konstantino, υπάρχουν ανδρικά και γυναικεία αθλήματα σήμερα. Τι μπορεί να φέρει μια γυναίκα αθλήτρια, αλλά και εκπαιδευτικό στον αθλητισμό και συγκεκριμένα στο μπάσκετ?
Πολύ ωραία ερώτηση. Αρχικά να πω ότι είναι βαθιά μου πεποίθηση ότι δεν υπάρχουν γυναικεία και ανδρικά αθλήματα. Υπάρχουν αθλήματα για αυτούς που θέτουν στόχους, δουλεύουν σκληρά, τους υλοποιούν, βλέπουν τα αποτελέσματά τους στην πράξη, παραμένουν ταπεινοί και συνεχίζουν την προσπάθεια. Και μάλιστα επιτυχημένος αθλητής και γενικότερα άνθρωπος του αθλητισμού είναι αυτός ο οποίος μπορεί να εμπνεύσει, να δημιουργήσει δρόμους, να ανοίξει δρόμους και να δημιουργήσει δρόμους για καινούριους αθλητές, για καινούριους ανθρώπους που θα συνεισφέρουν. Φυσικά, βέβαια, οι γυναίκες έχουν κάποια χαρακτηριστικά δυναμικής, τα οποία μπορεί στην Ελλάδα ή και ευρύτερα να θεωρούμε ότι είναι κάπως πιο, να το πω με τρόπο κάπως πιο υποβαθμισμένα, ωστόσο αποδεικνύεται όλο ένα και περισσότερα και το βλέπω καθημερινά και λόγω επαγγέλματος που κινούμε μεταξύ ιδιωτικών οργανισμών. Βλέπω γυναίκες σε ηγετικό ρόλο, γυναίκες να δημιουργούν, γυναίκες να έχουν δυνατές ομάδες οι οποίες επιτυγχάνουν και δημιουργούν αποτελέσματα. Φυσικά υπάρχει η απόλυτη ισότητα μεταξύ των φύλων, αλλά και αυτό είναι μια πολύ ωραία ρητορική. Το θέμα είναι πώς αυτό το βλέπουμε στην πράξη. Στην πράξη, λοιπόν, για να φανεί αυτό, πρέπει να δώσουμε ευκαιρίες. Δεν θεωρώ ότι οι γυναίκες δεν έχουν τις ευκαιρίες και βλέπουμε ότι όπου τους δίνεται η ευκαιρία, προοδεύουν, επιτυγχάνουν και πολλές φορές δημιουργούν μεγαλύτερες απαιτήσεις πλέον για τις ίδιες θέσεις και από τους άντρες. Είναι χαρακτηριστικό ότι για πρώτη φορά στην ιστορία της Ομοσπονδίας Καλαθοσφαίρισης, για να το φέρω πλέον και στα νερά μας, συμμετέχει μια γυναίκα στο Διοικητικό Συμβούλιο. Αυτό ως ένα ευχολόγιο, μια ρητορική, ακούγεται πολύ ωραίο. Μόνο που τουλάχιστον στη δική μας ομάδα αυτή η γυναίκα, η Γιάννη Κωνσταντινίδου, έχει φέρει μια άβρα τεχνοκρατική, μπορεί να ηγηθεί ομάδων, μπορεί να δημιουργήσει νέες συνθήκες και τις οποίες όλοι θα ακολουθήσουμε, θα υιοθετήσουμε και θα τις δώσουμε πλέον στην κοινωνία του αθλητισμού για να τις υλοποιήσει. Χρησιμοποιήσω αυτό το παράδειγμα γιατί είναι μαζί μας, την έχω ζήσει προσωπικά όλο το προηγούμενο διάστημα και είμαι σίγουρος ότι το παράδειγμα της κυρίας Κωνσταντινίδου θα δώσει σαφή μηνύματα στα νέα, ευρύτερα, όχι μόνο στην πασχετική κοινωνία, μπορεί να δημιουργήσει νέες συνθήκες και νέες ευκαιρίες για γυναίκες να ασχοληθούν διοικητικά με ζητήματα τέτοια, γιατί θεωρώ ότι τουλάχιστον στον χώρο της αγοράς, της ιδιωτικής αγοράς, η γυναίκα έχει καθιερωθεί, όχι μόνο έχει διεκδικήσει, έχει κερδίσει την θέση της μεταξύ των ανδρών σε θέσεις ευθύνης. Φυσικά υπάρχουν πολλά βήματα που πρέπει να γίνουν για να φέρουμε την ισότητα, την λεγόμενη ισότητα στην πράξη. Πρέπει να συνεχίσουμε να εμπιστευόμαστε γυναίκες και είναι χαρακτηριστικό το παράδειγμα του Κοινοβουλίου της Ισλανδίας, όπου η πλειοψηφία των εδρών είναι σε γυναίκες. Είναι ένα παράδειγμα το οποίο πρέπει όλους να μας δημιουργήσει αυτή την αίσθηση το ότι πρέπει να περιλαμβάνουμε πλέον τις γυναίκες σε όλα στη λήψη αποφάσεων. Αλλά στην τελική, για να το πω απλά, δεν νομίζω ότι αυτή τη στιγμή οι γυναίκες και δει στην Ελλάδα χρήζουν μιας ρητορικής για να μπουν στην καθημερινότητα και στη θέση ευθύνης. Ίσα-ίσα δημιουργούν μεγάλο ανταγωνισμό και για τους άνδρες, ξεπερνούν τα δεδομένα τα ανδρικά και πλέον έχουμε μια κοινωνία ίσων ευκαιριών, που συνέχεια αυτό πρέπει εμείς να δουλεύουμε αυτή τη διαδικασία Κλείνοντας λοιπόν, για να μην κουράσω, θεωρώ ότι δεν υπάρχουν γυναικεία και ανδρικά αθλήματα. Υπάρχουν αθλήματα που ο αθλητής, αθλήτρια προοδεύει, δουλεύει σκληρά και επιτυγχάνει. Γιατί στο τέλος της βραδιάς μιλάμε για ανθρώπους, για αθλητές, και στον αθλητισμό, βέβαια φυσικά σε όλη την κοινωνία, αλλά στον αθλητισμό δεν χωράει ο διαχωρισμός γυναίκα και άνδρα. Και είναι σίγουρο ότι και η Γιάννη Κωνσταντινίδη, μέσα από την ενασχόλησή της με την Ελληνική Ομοσπονδία, θα αποδείξει πόσο μπορούμε να τα καταφέρουμε και να παραφέρουμε στην πράξη, να επαναφέρουμε το μπάσκετ γυναικών σε ψηλό επίπεδο, σε ένα σύγχρονο επίπεδο, κάπου που ίσως σήμερα μπορεί να φαντάζει πολύ παρακινδυνευμένος στόχος, να λέμε ότι το γυναικείο μπάσκετ θα αναπτυχθεί στην Ελλάδα σε ένα πολύ μεγάλο βαθμό, αλλά θεωρώ ότι με τη συμβολή ανθρώπων όπως κύριε Κωνσταντινίδου θα το καταφέρουμε. Και ελπίζω να βρεθούμε σε μερικά χρόνια από εδώ, όχι πολλά, στο ίδιο πάνελ, να συζητάμε για το πώς κατάφεραν οι γυναίκες να δώσουν παράδειγμα και να ανοίξουν δρόμους. Ευχαριστώ.
Πολύ ωραίο, Κωνσταντίνε, ευχαριστώ και εγώ. Και μίλησες λιγάκι για υποδομή και θα ήθελα να απευθυνθώ στο Γιάννη. Γιάννη, υπάρχει υποδομή, κίνητρο και πρόσβαση σήμερα για τα κορίτσια να ασχοληθούν με τον αθλητισμό, κυρίως μέσα στα σχολεία? Και αν όχι, θα μπορούσε αυτό να αλλάξει?
Είναι αυτή μια πολύ ωραία ερώτηση. Το σύστημα όπως το έχουμε στην Ελλάδα, γιατί κάθε χώρα έχει τα δικά της χαρακτηριστικά, ο ερασιτεχνικός αθλητισμός ουσιαστικά υλοποιείται μέσω από την προσπάθεια και την πρωτοβουλία ερασιτεχνών παραγόντων, εντάξει, γονέων κατά βάση ουσιαστικά. Οπότε αυτό σημαίνει ότι οι υποδομές που χρησιμοποιούνται για αυτό τον αθλητισμό και συγκεκριμένα για τον μπάσκετ, να μην μιλήσω για άλλα αθλήματα, είναι σχεδόν αποκλειστικά οι σχολικές υποδομές. Άρα έχουμε καταρχάς διαθέσιμους κάποιους χώρους μέσα από τα σχολεία. Οι συνθήκες χρήσης αυτών των χώρων, η ευκολία, να το πω έτσι, χρήσης, είναι κάτι το οποίο σηκώνει θεαματικής βελτίωσης. Έχουμε και εμείς διαπιστώσει, η διεισό μας, δηλαδή στους συλλόγους με τους οποίους ασχολούμαστε, στις περιοχές μας, τα προβλήματα που έχουν προκύψει και τα οποία είναι εδώ και πολλά χρόνια. Σίγουρα όμως οι υποδομές υπάρχουν και χρήζουν θεαματικής βελτίωσης και ως προς την αναβάθμισή τους και ως προς τη διαδικασία χρήσης τους, ουσιαστικά από τους ερασιτεχνικούς συλλόγους, για να μπορέσουν να διευκολύνουν και το έργο και την επιθυμία της άθλησης των μικρών κοριτσιών. Από εκεί και πέρα, το κίνητρο είναι κάτι πολύ πιο σχετικό. Δηλαδή, η επίσημη πολιτεία παρέχει ένα κίνητρο, αν μπορούμε να το πούμε έτσι, ότι είναι σε ένα υψηλό επίπεδο, ηλικιακά, δηλαδή στις ηλικίες των 16-17 ετών, να το πούμε εκεί πέρα, είναι τα παιδιά τα οποία θα καταφέρουν, τα κορίτσια και οι νεάνιδες που θα καταφέρουν με τους συλλόγους τους να διακριθούν σε πανελλήνιο επίπεδο, έχουν κάποιο απτό έτσι όφελος, ενός μπόνους, μιας πριμοδότησης για να μπουν σε κάποια πανεπιστήμια. Κατά τα λοιπά, που εγώ αυτό δεν το θεωρώ απαραίτητα ότι θα έπρεπε να είναι το βασικό κίνητρο. Το κίνητρο είναι να έχουμε περισσότερα κορίτσια τα οποία να θέλουν να ασχοληθούν με τον αθλητισμό, να θέλουν να ασχοληθούν με τον μπάσκετ. Άρα το κίνητρο θα μπορούσε να είναι και πολύ πιο απλό στο να βλέπουν την προσπάθειά τους να αναγνωρίζεται. Ο Κωνσταντίνος, ας πούμε, ασχολείται με θέματα επικοινωνίας. Είναι πολύ σημαντικό να δείξουμε στα παιδιά αυτά στις μικρές ηλικίες πόσο πολύ σημαντικό είναι αυτό που κάνουν και πόσο πολύ πιο μεγάλο από το να νομίζουν ότι είναι απλώς σε ένα σχολικό χώρο ή σε ένα σχολικό αγώνα ή σε ένα ερασιτεχνικό αγώνα κλπ. Γιατί είμαστε μέρος του παιχνιδιού, είμαστε μέρος μιας ιστορίας που γράφεται καθημερινά σε όλο τον κόσμο από παιδιά, κορίτσια, νεάνιδες, αγόρια κλπ. Όλων των ηλικιών. Ως προς τη δυνατότητα παρέμβασης, γιατί και αυτό λέμε, τι άλλο μπορούμε να βελτιώσουμε, θεωρώ ότι μέσα λοιπόν από αυτήν την μεγάλη αλλαγή που έχει προκύψει στην Ελληνική Ομοσπονδία και από όλους τους ανθρώπους που δεν είναι μόνο οι άνθρωποι του Συμβουλίου, προφανώς, είναι πολύ περισσότεροι αυτοί στους οποίους έχουμε ουσιαστικά ανοιχτεί και θέλουμε να είναι μέρος αυτής της αλλαγής, θεσμικές αλλαγές που θα γίνουν σε συνεργασία με την ελληνική κυβέρνηση, γιατί πάντα η κεντρική εξουσία έχει τους δικούς της ρυθμούς και τις δικές της δυνατότητες, και με την τοπική αυτοδιοίκηση, που επίσης έχει ένα καθοριστικό ρόλο και λόγο στο πώς διευκολύνει ή δεν διευκολύνει τη δυνατότητα άθλησης.
Γιάννη, αυτό είναι σημαντικό και ότι το κίνητρο εάν μπορούσαμε να φτάσουμε σε σημείο το κίνητρο να είναι εσωτερικό και να το κάνει κανείς για την αγάπη του αθλητισμού, αυτό θα είναι πολύ μεγάλη επιτυχία. Να πάω λίγο στην Άννη. Άννη, κάποια στιγμή μετά το 87 Όλοι θυμόμαστε το 87. Το μπάσκετ έγινε δημοφιλές στην Ελλάδα. Σήμερα λοιπόν υπάρχει το ίδιο ενδιαφέρον από τα παιδιά και κυρίως τα κορίτσια να ασχοληθούν και να το βάλουν στην καθημερινότητά τους ή μόνο όταν προσδοκούν να ασχοληθούν επαγγελματικά, όπως είπαμε πριν?
Όντως από το 87 και μετά το μπάσκετ μπήκε σε όλα τα σπίτια, θεωρώ, και είδαμε όχι μόνο αγόρια να παίζουν και τότε στα ανοιχτά γήπεδα και στις σαλάνες, αλλά είδαμε και κορίτσια. Άρα πιστεύω ότι εκείνη η εποχή σημάδεψε το μπάσκετ γενικότερα στη χώρα μας. Και μετά το 87 υπήρχαν χρόνια όπου υπήρχαν αρκετά κορίτσια, αλλά και ομάδες γυναικών που διαπρέψανε και κάνανε μεγάλες επιτυχίες και στην Ευρώπη και κατά καιρούς και η εθνική ομάδα. Τώρα τελευταία έχουμε δει αρκετά κορίτσια, τα οποία από νεάνιδες ξεκινήσανε φυσικά την ανωδική τους πορεία, που έχουν πάει στην Αμερική, παραδείγματος χάρη, και είναι σε πανεπιστήμια και σπουδάζουν και παίζουν μπάσκετ. Οπότε μπορώ να πω κατά καιρούς είχαμε αυτό που λέμε εμείς φουρνιές καλών παικτριών και κοριτσιών που τέλος πάντων είχαν μπει και είχαν διαπρέψει στο άθλημα. Τολμώ να πω όμως ότι με μια έρευνα που έγινε πρόσφατα σε δημοτικά σχολεία, είδαμε ένα νούμερο το οποίο δεν με χαροποιεί προσωπικά, αλλά και δεν χαροποιεί, θεωρώ, και πολλούς, ότι στα δημοτικά σχολεία μόνο ένα 30% των κοριτσιών είχαν μοιηθεί στο άθλημα του μπάσκετ, και ευελπιστώ ότι αυτός ο αριθμός θα αυξηθεί μέσα σε βάθος χρόνου. Τώρα, αν τα κορίτσια κοιτάνε να ασχοληθούν και να παίξουν, γιατί είναι απλά ένα παιχνίδι, και να το εντάξουν στην καθημερινότητα, ή προσδοκούν να ασχοληθούν επαγγελματικά, η αλήθεια είναι ότι το επαγγελματικό μπάσκετ γυναικών στην Ελλάδα δεν είναι αυτό που ενδεχομένως στην Ευρώπη να ισχύει ή έστω και στην Αμερική. Δηλαδή, ουσιαστικά το μπάσκετ γυναικών στην Ελλάδα, κατά την άποψή μου, δεν μπορεί να θεωρηθεί επαγγελματικό, θεωρείται ημιεπαγγελματικό, δεν είναι ένας τρόπος, να το πω, ένας τρόπος εργασίας, όπως υπάρχει, μπορώ να πω, στο μπάσκετ ανδρών. Για να ολοκληρώσω, ένα βασικό κομμάτι το οποίο πιστεύω θα βοηθήσει στο να έρθουν κορίτσια και να υπάρχει και το ενδιαφέρον από τα κορίτσια, είναι η προβολή του μπάσκετ γυναικών. Τώρα, εδώ και αρκετά χρόνια, δεν μπορώ να πω ότι το μπάσκετ γυναικών το βλέπει κάποιος εύκολα στην τηλεόραση, γιατί πολύ απλά δεν υπάρχει στην τηλεόραση. Οπότε, για να φέρουμε περισσότερα κορίτσια, πρέπει να κάνουμε ό,τι χρειάζεται για να το γνωρίσουμε. Όχι μόνο τα κορίτσια, αλλά και οι γονείς τους, γιατί από εκεί ξεκινάει. Έτσι θεωρώ ότι υπάρχει δρόμος και πρέπει εμείς στην Ομοσπονδία, όλη η ομάδα, να το πω έτσι λίγο λαϊκά, να σπρώξει την εικόνα του μπάσκετ γυναικών για να φέρουμε ακόμα περισσότερα κορίτσια.
Bravo. Thank you, Annie. And we'll switch over to the final couple of questions to everyone. What advice do each of you have for young people chasing the dream of becoming successful athletes? What would you say to these young people as they start out?
I guess I'll start.
Go for it.
Okay. Basically, these are the things that I also say to our students at our school, that come to me about basketball and about classes and their future. These are the things that I tell them. First of all, many times I say you have to prioritize. You have to prioritize your time. You have to set goals, and when I say setting goals, it's better to have small increments. Reach out, goal one by one, and make them realistic. Working hard is very important in anything, whether it's becoming a successful athlete or becoming a doctor or becoming, a good professional. So working hard is very important. I also see people getting up, young kids getting upset after, a bad game, for example, or a loss in a game. And what I say to them is, at the end of the day, you need to put things in perspective. So basically, I tell them basketball is just a game, and it's important to have fun. But in terms of becoming a successful athlete, nothing comes easy. Working hard and focusing is what I tell the young athletes, boys or girls, because there's a perception that you become a professional athlete or Michael Jordan or a famous tennis player, Maria Sakkari, that this comes easy, and it doesn't. And obviously, I also tell them is that when an opportunity comes your way, you need to grab it. And sometimes the opportunity is not easy to see. You see it as hard work, you see it as difficult, but sometimes that's how you get up there. So that's my perspective on what you need to become successful.
Yanni, Konstantina, any advice for the young people on chasing the dream?
First of all, from my perspective, what they would suggest is that they have to perform with will and commitment. They have to work hard, chasing their dreams, and don't settle on smaller things. They have to cultivate their energy on a daily basis to really go after what they want in their life. And because the dreams can remain dreams forever. What we are creating is a daily work in order to chase our dream and become a reality. Uh, Another advice that I could say that they have to understand that failure is a very crucial component of success. And if failure comes in the life of every athlete, every individual, we have to take the lesson from each failure and create and use it as a tool. Finally, courage. Courage is a voice that at the end of the day says to ourselves that we have to keep trying, to act with love, with passion for what we do, and this process will make all of us wiser and create the opportunity to make our challenge a dream and our dream a reality. So they have to stick on that and go on with those very principles.
Again, as a closing remark from my point, I read this summer a book from one of the greatest college coaches ever, George Thompson from Georgetown University. Now, Thompson is a legend. Uh, he has been right next to many of the greatest basketball players ever, of the GOAT status, of the greatest coaches ever. And what he writes in an expert excerpt is that the greatest player ever to play the game is someone that has never been elevated to the, let's say, the NBA level. He was in a park in New York or in Brooklyn. He didn't have the opportunity to show his skill and show his craftness and show his character at the top level. So if there is, again, a lesson to be learned regarding how we can empower people, how we can empower girls, how we can empower all the athletes, the young athletes, to try to achieve their dreams, is that it's going to be a very tough road. They have to show resiliency. They have to show this, constant drive and urge to excel and to try to overcome all adversities. It is a difficult path. It's a great path regarding the character that it builds, It is difficult. And again, for every person that takes this path, I believe that he acts as an ambassador of the game itself. He's the one, she's the one that will bring a young kid, again, watching this resilience and watching this performance, even if they do not make it on the elite level, let's say on the professional level.
Thank you. Very inspiring words, Yanni. And with that said, I have to ask this question. With or without you, what is the one thing that you think hope will change with you in the Federation that wouldn't have happened with it, without you there? What is the one thing that you hope will change with or without you?
I would say creation of more opportunities for our youth. That's what I would say. Gianni?
Close the argument. Yes, I believe from my point of view is that it will be the opportunity for people, for women who are operating and managing their sports club, to being able to discuss the issues that they face in these clubs for their children and their athletes in the top level of the basketball federation.
And I could add that we have the chance to create a wider vision, and this vision to be followed from as many, not only sportsmen and sportswomen, but for the society, to unite as many as we can through basketball.
Well, certainly, I and many people in Greece will be rooting for you. I wish you all the best of luck, and thank you for everything that you do in your daily lives to inspire engagement in sports, but also what you will be doing in the road ahead. Thank you, Giannis Iliopoulos, Yanni Konstantinidis, Konstantinos Assimakopoulos, for joining us today
Thank you.
in the Diogen panel. And I look forward to further discussions as you get further in the Federation with your work. Thank you very much for joining us. Have a great rest of the day.
Thank you.
Thank you.